welcome to Friday, June 2nd. It is International Refugee Awareness Day. I think that's what's the name of it, but um, in this time of international conflict and international and national sort of friction, a time when those are the kinds of conditions that actually create more refugees. I want to talk about the Adam and Eve story, as they essentially become themselves refugees from Eden. Now it's a different situation. They are not oppressed by God. They are attempted to be corrected by God. So, put that all in the context, but you can imagine how Adam and Eve feel going from their home into exile. And you hear the promises of God, the curse of Adam, that things are going to be really hard. So, I just wanted to say that. And in light of that, I light a candle. I light a candle as a representation of the presence of God. Whether we're in a desert place of great difficulty where it's really hard for us to see what He's doing and where He's working, or if we're saying, "Oh, I'm there. I see God working every day of my life. I pray that this candle, this little miniature moment symbolizing God's presence, can turn our hearts and heads to Him." Genesis 3, the Voice translation. Hold on a second. Of all the wild creatures the eternal God had created, the serpent was the craftiest. "Is it true that God has forbidden you to eat the fruits from the trees of the garden?" said the serpent. And Eve said to the serpent, "No, serpent. God said we are free to eat the fruit from the trees in the garden. We're granted access to any variety and all amounts of fruit with one exception: the fruit from the tree found in the center of the garden. God instructed us not to eat or touch the fruit of that tree, or we would die." And the serpent says, "Die? No, you'll not die. God is playing with you. The truth is that God knows the day that you eat the fruit from that tree, you will awaken something powerful in you and become like Him, possessing knowledge about good and evil." Okay, next. Hey, sit. 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 Down. Down. He's not very obedient. Sit. The woman approached the tree, eyed its fruit, and coveted its mouth-watering, wisdom-granting beauty. She plucked the fruit from the tree and ate. She then offered the fruit to her husband, who was close by, and he ate as well. Suddenly their eyes were opened to a reality previously unknown. For the first time they sensed their vulnerability and rushed to hide their naked bodies, stitching fig leaves into crude loincloths. Then they heard the sound of the eternal God walking in the cool, misting shadows of the garden. The man and his wife took cover among the trees and hid from the eternal God. God, calling to Adam, said, "Where are you?" And Adam said, "When I heard the sound of you coming in the garden, I was afraid because I'm naked, so I hid from you." And God said, "Who told you that you're naked? Have you eaten from the tree in the center of the garden, the very one I commanded you not to eat from?" And Adam, pointing at the woman, "It was she, the woman you gave me as a companion, put the fruit in my hands, and I ate it." And God said to the woman, "What have you done?" Eve said, "It was the serpent. He tricked me, and I ate." And God said to the serpent, "What you have done carries great consequences. Now you are cursed more than cattle or wild beasts. You will writhe on your belly forever, consuming the dust out of which man was made. I will make you and your brood enemies of the woman and all her children. The woman's child will stomp your head, and you will strike his heel." And to the woman, "As a consequence of your actions, I will increase your suffering, the pain of childbirth and the sorrow bringing forth the next generation. You will desire your husband, but rather than a companion, he will be a dominant partner." To the man, "Because you have followed your wife's advice instead of my command, and ate of the tree from which I had forbidden you to eat, cursed is the ground. For the rest of your life you will fight for every crumb of food from the crusty clump of clay I made you from. As you labor, the ground will produce thorns and thistles, and you will eat the plants of the field. Your brow will sweat for your mouth to taste even a morsel of the bread until the day you return to the very ground I made you from. From dust you have come, and to dust you shall return." The man named his wife Eve because she was destined to become the mother of all living. The eternal God pieced together the skins of animals and made clothes for Adam and Eve to wear. God said, "Look, the human has become like one of us, possessing knowledge of good and evil. If we don't do something, he will reach out his hand, take some of the fruit from the tree of life, eat it, and live forever." So the eternal God banished Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden and exiled humanity from paradise, sentencing humans to laborious lives, working the very ground man came from. After driving them out, he stationed winged guardians to the east of the Garden of Eden, and set up a sword of flames which alertly turned back and forth to guard the way to the tree of life. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.